we'll hit record. Lovely. And I'm gonna make a start, although I think I've lost Helen. Let me just check. Well, Helen's dipped out. Maybe she'll join us in again in a moment. Okay then, so just come to stand on your mat for me, please. Let's just work a little bit into some pelvic tilts to start with. So a lot of our balance work is going to be focusing on maintaining pelvic control. So feet hip distance apart, knees are soft, and then just starting with a little bit of a gentle tilt of your pelvis forwards and backwards. Big bucket of water, tip the water out the front and the back. Hello again, Helen. I think we lost you for a second there. So make sure you've got enough space around you, because we're going to be doing some sort of forwards, sideways and backwards leg reaches in a moment. But when you're ready, just find that neutral spine, so somewhere in between those two positions. Just going to begin with nice walking pattern just to bring some blood flow to those legs. So peel one heel off the mat, lower that heel down and replace with the opposite heel. I've just noticed it's sunny. It's not usually sunny at this time. It's usually getting quite dark. So I'm going to just pull this down, even though it feels a shame to trap the sun out, but a little bit of glare. So yeah, it's nicer, isn't it? We've got those longer days coming in and hopefully warmer weather will come with it, but it's been a bit rainy today. Okay, if you're happy with that slow heel lift, we'll make it a little bit quicker. So as one heel lifts, the other heel lowers, but always working on keeping that pelvic bone nice and level. So no hitching of the hips. Yeah, we don't want those hips to pop out to the side when you take your weight through it. We want to keep those pelvic bones as they are. Tray of drinks resting on your head, and you're just gently lifting and lowering, but keeping that tray of drinks balanced if you want to. A little bit of tension through your tummy, nice and light on your heels. Nothing too fancy with this evening. It's just to get that blood working through the calves and starting to bring us some awareness through our lower back and pelvis. Brilliant. Keep going. 10, 9, 8, perfect control everyone. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely. Take your weight onto your right leg, shifting across. Knee is soft on that right side. We take the left leg and we tap it forwards. Steady pelvis. Tap it to the side and then tap it behind. Good. Come back to the center. And we swap sides, so shift across to your left leg, tap the right leg forward this time, back to the middle, out to the side, take it behind. Good, keep going. Shift across, nose, breastbone, belly button, all in line with that weight over the standing leg so that your moving leg can flow freely. So this standing leg, if you want to make it a little bit harder, you're going to start to dip into that standing leg as the opposite leg taps. So you've got a little bit of a squat on this leg. And it should mean that you can stretch that gesture leg a little bit further away. Just giving you the option here to hold on with one hand. Yeah, and if that means you might need to turn and face forward, so you've got that space to both sides, then you can do. Okay, and if you don't feel that you need to tap and you want to challenge your balance even more, we're going to go for a hover. So we hover, stretch, hover, stretch, long legs. Good, just keep swapping left and right. Okay, keep that focus on those pelvic bones. As that leg comes behind you, try not to let your back arch, yeah? Tail stays tucked under and long, and it's a squeeze of the bottom that allows you to extend your hip. Let me see how you're going. Well done, good work everyone. A couple more of those. We'll do one more round on each side or thereabouts. Good. Now we're going to take it once you finish this next round and we're going to hold it. So standing on one leg, stretch the opposite leg out in front. Hold here. You can come a little higher if you want to, but just focus on squeezing that long leg forwards, but bending that standing leg, okay? If you want to make it a little harder, we pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely, come back together. Legs get a little rest, but not too much. Same leg that was stretching forwards now stretches out to the side. So you've either got your toe tapped down or your foot lifted. Careful not to tip across to the side. Nose, breastbone, belly button in line. We hold or we pulse standing leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, holding on if you need to, 2 and 1. Lovely, come back in. So that should really challenge that standing leg. Going to turn side on, you stay where you are. We take the leg out behind us now, yes? So watch that arch in the back. Toe is tapped down or foot is lifted. Soften the front knee. We hold or we pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Getting that heart rate up now. Second side, so same sequence, opposite leg now. So shifting across to your opposite leg, stretching out in front. This leg should feel tired now. It's just loaded a lot, okay? So we're here, or we're here, hands on hips to monitor that control, and we hold or pulse. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center, pause for a rest, and then reset, leg to the side, okay? Stretch and tap, or stretch and lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Final one, okay? I'm just going to turn side on. You stay where you need to. Stretch the leg out behind you. Tap the toe, lift the foot. I'm going to see your last one. Hold or pulse. Good work. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Just come back to stand. Give those legs a little bit of a shake out. Nice work, everyone. Okay, we're still going to focus on the position that we were just in. So with the leg extended out behind, challenging the balance a little bit more now. So don't be afraid to hold on to something if you need to. We're going to take it into what we call an arabesque pose. So it's quite a ballet-inspired position. So I'm going to show you front arm and side arm. So you're going to shift your weight. Let's all take it into the left leg to begin with. So the left leg is soft, okay? Now, equally, as the hip extends out behind, the shoulders move down. So you're aiming to create a horizontal line through your body. Arms can kind of come down in front of you to create a bit of counterbalance. So extend that hip out behind, lower the fingertips down. Now, you may just stay here. You may be holding on for a little bit of support. You might really be able to extend that hip and lower the shoulders down. Tighten your tummy towards your spine. Find your balance and hold for me. If you lose your balance, don't worry. Smile and find it again. Good work, everyone. Keep going, holding and balancing, breathing, tummy drawn to spine, being as still as you can. Try not to let that right hip lift up towards the ceiling. So the front of your pelvis should be parallel to the ground. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Come back in. Whew, pause. Check in with your mindfulness and we'll go over to the second side. So I'll show you front arm from here. So reaching down with the hands as the foot extends out behind you. Keep lowering. That standing front leg is soft. You will feel a bit of a stretch through the hamstring. So this hip bone, make sure it's not twisted to lift up towards the ceiling. Keep those hip bones in line with your shoulders. And you're looking down towards the floor to help create that horizontal line through the body. 5, 4, 3, see if you can get your foot half an inch higher, 2, and 1. Well done, come down. I promised you some balance work. That was brilliant. Okay, so really focusing in on the legs here with a little bit more leg work, more about loading the legs now. So I'm going to get you to take it into wide stance for me. So feet wider than the hips with a slight turn out of the toes. Standing up nice and tall to begin with. We're going to move through a few different positions here. So we start with the hands again just placed on the hips, tuck the tail underneath. Stood against a wall, we slide down the wall. Then we push up to stand, okay? So we're doing 1 squat. Then we're going to turn on our back heel towards the long end of the mat. And then we're going to take it into our split squat. So the back knee bends and the front one lowers. Push back up to stand. We take it forwards. Plie squat, wide knees going in the direction of the toes. Turn on the back heel lifts. Bending the knees, yeah? So all the while, the posture from the top line of the body doesn't change. We're not moving forwards, we're moving down. So if you get that idea of your back sliding down a wall, and then you turn side onto the wall and your shoulder slides down the wall. And again, if you find those split squats hard, use something to support the wall, the mantelpiece, bring your arms out to the side. Doesn't matter how low you go, it's all about posture and making sure that these knees never pass over the toes. So on your next split squat, just check down and make sure you can still see your toes. If you can't, you've come too far forwards. You want to keep your back pressed against the wall. Keep it going, guys. Let me see you. These are tricky. Well done. Very nice. You might even feel like these last few, you can go a little bit deeper. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to get you to hold your next split squat. So you're facing the short end of the mat, bending the knee, tummy drawn towards the spine. We're going to take it into hundreds here. Pulse through the arms. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely, come back up. Turn forwards, turn sideways, back heel lifted, bend the knees, shoulders over hips, tummy drawn in, and we pulse again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff, come up. I'm sorry for my cruel and slow counts there, but always good to work those legs. Okay, bring your feet hip distance apart. Face forwards again for me. We're just going to work a little bit into some roll downs now as we transition down onto the mat. So when you're ready, begin tall and then slowly peel down through the bones in your spine. Every bone gets its moment to move before the next one joins in. Breathing out. Lengthening through the spine and the back of the legs. Remembering that the knees are soft to start with, and we don't force the forward fold. We let the body open into it so that we feel comfortable. And then we stack back up to stand when we're ready. Okay, when you get to the top, we're going to just simply go down again. Nice, so enjoy this slow, steady movement, opening up the back, coming down, one bone at a time. Do a few more of those for me. Okay, your next one is your final one, so take your time with it and then hang in your forwards fold when you get to the bottom. bringing your attention back to your breathing, trying not to let any other thoughts take you away from your breath. Fingertips gently hanging with little weights attached to the edge of them, bringing you over the front of your feet. Shoulder blades wrapped around the rib cage, the chin gently pressed towards the chest, and the pelvic bones ever so slightly lifting up towards the ceiling for a comfortable stretch in the back of the legs. Enjoy 2 more breaths in your forwards fold. And then bring yourself down onto your mat in a high kneeling position. So in the centre of your mat facing forwards. So if you prefer to sort of roll your mat up slightly to give yourself a bit more padding, you can do. And especially if you're on a hard floor, I'd recommend that just for the next sequence, because we're going to be working a little bit into those kneecaps, your patellofemoral joint. Okay, just giving you a second for those of you that need to adjust your cameras. So you've got your hips and your knees directly stacked on top of one another, and then just make sure your shoulders are stacked over your hips as well, and you're not sort of leaning back into this position. Okay, just do a little bit of posture work. So I want you just to start to bring awareness to your lower tummy, draw your tummy towards your spine. Hands by your side, keep that tension in your tummy as you float your hands up to shoulder height. Shoulder blades melting down into your back pockets and then lower back down again. So imagine you're holding a balloon, just slowly floating that balloon up to your shoulders and back down again. Quite a purposeful movement. So you're really aiming to feel every muscle in your shoulder blade being active as your arms lift and lower. As we move slowly, the arms should feel a little bit heavier than usual as we feel the effects of gravity. Lovely. So long necks, none of this, shoulders away from the ears, really working to activate this area here. So as the shoulder blades gently draw into one another, the arms can float up. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of thigh work now. So at the end of your hand lift, I'm just going to turn side on, hands come to shoulder height position. Then from here we pull back, so drawing our shoulders behind our hips until we feel a stretch in the front of the thigh. Tighten the tummy as you go back and then lower your arms down. Repeat that again for you. So floating up, hands to shoulder height, tuck the tail underneath, tighten the tummy, lean back. How low can you go before you need to come back up again? So you should really feel the fronts of the thighs lengthening under the tension of your weight, and then they recoil to bring you back over to your high kneeling position. Good stuff. We have done this before, but not for a while, so do what you can with it. Good. So your shoulders are staying over your hips. So rather than sitting your hips towards your heels, rather than doing this, I want you to think about imagine like a pole has been attached to your spine. You've got to keep that pole straight so it goes from an upright to a diagonal line position. You've got it. Harder, yeah? Okay. Good stuff. We're going to do 2 more. I know these are tough, especially if you're tight in the front of your thighs. We're going to give you the option to hold the next one. If the hold's not for you, don't worry. If you're holding, bring your arms by your side and pulse. Otherwise, we rest. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Come back. Stack those shoulders comfortably back over those hips, and then just sit back into your heels for a moment and stretch out in front. I think that one is a good challenge, but it doesn't half challenge your kneecaps and your length in your thigh muscles. Just pause here for a moment, stretching out. We're way over halfway now, got about 10 minutes left. Okay, so when you're ready, bring yourself back to kneeling position and stretch your mat out in front of you if you did roll it up. Okay, we're going to take it into a little bit of a flow from side to side now. An opportunity to strengthen the shoulder, but also stretch out the side of the body. If the floor feels like it's quite far away from you, you might want to lean into your sofa or grab a pillow or something like that. You're going to need one either side of you though. So we're going to take the right hand, we're going to reach down to the floor, stretch the left leg out to the side, and we take it into a nice long stretch diagonal line through the body. But we don't stay there too long, we push back to the centre and we take it over to the second side. So quite good to move sometimes from side to side, as it challenges our body's ability to change positions fairly quickly, which helps us to be a bit more dynamic. Now let's use that length that we've just achieved through the front of the thigh. So when you get into your mermaid stretch, push your hips forwards and see if you can make your pelvis as flat as you can. Pressing your hand into the floor. If you can't tolerate that through your wrist, remember you can always come into your fist, and watch this top arm position. So slide your shoulder away from your ear and keep a gap between your head and your shoulders. Good stuff. A nice one to bring your breathing back in. Side to side. Good, and really try and flow between those two movements. So it's almost as if you don't stop in the middle. That's it, push those hips over your knees. Lovely, nice flat line through your body. Good, one more on each side. And then we work these hips. Okay, holding to one side, doesn't matter which one because we're going to do both. Just pause for a moment, tighten the tummy and breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the top hand and place it on the hip. Okay, now that's helping us keep that hip stability that we started with. 2 options here. First option, bend your knee. Bend the knee on that top leg and see if you can lift the outside of that hip. So the outside of that knee in line with that hip. So there's your first option. Second option, we lengthen the leg and we take it to a long lever, lift and lower. You should feel that kick the outside of your top hip. You're pressing into your hand and you're pushing away from your hand, so the underside of that hip and your bottom leg is working to create stability. Okay, if you need to, come back to kneel, take your weight off that wrist and go again on the same side for me. So if we still stick to the same side, I'll swap you over in a moment. Okay, so when you're ready, join back in. So you're either doing like a dog peeing up a lamppost kind of leg or a straight leg. And watch that neckline as well. So we've got loads to think about with that, haven't we? But just make sure that your head is not just hanging off the end of your shoulders. Good work. Let's see if we can float those legs rather than hitch them up. Much better. Okay, you've got 4 more, 2 more, and we hold the next one. Of course, we hold the next one. So either with the leg bent or the leg straight. Now that leg is going to feel heavy quite quickly. Last push through with the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Bring the leg down and come back to the centre. And just give that wrist a little bit of a shake around. We don't do the side kick in high kneeling. We often take it off the mat where we just do long leg lifts. As soon as we bring it into high kneeling, we're working in a different range of movement for the hip, which I'm sure you can appreciate is a lot more challenging. So well done. So we're going to do the second side. So when you're feeling up to it, bring yourself back into that high kneeling position. Don't be alarmed if we feel more tired on this side. Obviously, we've already worked this hip. That's the one that's going to stabilize us. So starting off with your mermaid stretch. Okay, so long line through the top of your body. Flat bodies if you can. Holding that position. Top shoulder away from the ear. Well done. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The hand comes down, presses on the hip. Okay, choose your option. So knee bent, outside leg lifts, or legs straight, the leg lifts. Okay, doesn't have to be as high as the hip, could be just a little lift to get you started, that's fine. Now look at the difference between this smooth movement and a hitch. Yeah, if you're hitching, chances are you're using these muscles more than these muscles. So just make your movement a little bit smaller for me and see if you can control that movement. Okay, so we're not throwing the leg up, we're using that lovely smooth movement to achieve that leg lift and work those side glutes. Good work. Just be mindful of your head placement, so make sure your chin's not dropping to your chest. Well done, lovely options. Sit back away from your hand if you need to at any point, shaking off what you need to, then coming back in. Okay, we've got 5 more, 4 more. Building up to a hold, take a little pause if you need to. 3, 2, lift and hold. Heavy legs. I can't remember if I counted 10 or 5, so I'm going to go in the middle. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Come down, sit back onto your knees and just give those wrists a little bit of a stretch. Good work, everyone. Really, really tough. So we're going to come to line our backs. We'll just do a bit of a glute stretch and then we'll finish with some abs. How are we doing for time? We're just about to fit it all in. Sorry if I lose you at the end. Okay, so set yourself up in your rest position. We're all familiar with our glute stretch, aren't we? So we place one foot on the opposite knee, let that hip fall out to the side, let the knee drop away. And if you want a little bit more, just bring that knee in towards you. Making sure though that the hip position stays open. And breathe here. That should feel on that bent leg side, the one with the foot on the opposite leg, it should feel like it really kind of hits the spot where you were just working. Okay, slowly lower down and cross the legs. We take it over to the second side, so place the foot on the opposite knee, allow the knee to drop away. Always start in this position, don't go straight into that knee hug. It's always good just to let your hip to settle open and notice where your knee sits, and then just check that that doesn't change a great deal when you bring your knee into the lift. If you kind of find that your opposite leg collapses in, you lose a little bit of the stretch. It's not always worthwhile bringing the foot off the floor. And breathe here, back to breathing again. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I'm going to finish with some abdo prep. We're not here for too long. So remember, abdo prep is all about those ribs. So if you're feeling it in your neck, you need to come back and think about drawing your tummy in towards your spine and sliding your rib cage down towards your waist. So just look at this positioning. We start here, we drive down, the tummy's tight. Even if you're not lifting your head off the mat, this is what I want you to be focusing on. As if you're trying to shorten your trunk, yeah? Your trunk slides down towards your waist. So interlace the fingers, support behind the head, look into, gazing to the, your elbows are in the corner of your gaze. So we flatten the ribs down towards the waist, tummy drawn towards the spine or the pelvic floor is drawn in. And then if you want to, with a breath out, the head and shoulders come off the mat and then we lower them down again. Release that tension between your rib cage and your pelvis before you repeat. So slide down, tighten the tummy, float the head and shoulders up. You really shouldn't feel like your head and shoulders are being lifted. Because you've shortened the distance between your rib cage and your pelvis, They've kind of already created that tension for the shoulders and the head to lift. You're keeping a space between your chin and your chest for a juicy peach to rest. So you're still looking upwards, and then as you lift your head and shoulders, that gaze changes slightly to be just above your knees. So don't lose your chin into your chest. Okay, breathe out as you come up. And remember, if you're not adding the head and shoulders lift, you're just shortening your ribs towards your pelvis and feeling that contraction of your tummy as you do it. That is your foundation. Everything else builds up. Okay, so you can simply just stick with your abdo prep, or I'm going to give you 2 more options if you want to work a little bit harder. We're going to take it into a crunch, engage the lower abdomen as well. Nothing too fancy, but we add a tabletop. So as we float the head and shoulders off the mat, stack the knee over the hip, and then come down, and repeat it on the second side. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're also maintaining that neutral pelvis as well as the shortening of the rib cage. This is your second option. First option, head. Second option, head and one leg. Third option, and we're not here for too long, squeeze your knees and feet together, and we're going to lift both legs as we lift the head and lower both legs as we lower the head. Okay, so a bit more challenging, double leg lift, not for the faint-hearted. We've got 8 more. Choose your option. 7 more. 6 more. Well done. Lovely options there. 5 more. Good. 4 more. 3 more. Keep it going, guys. You're looking great. 2 more. And 1. And finish off with a nice big hug of those knees. Well done. Lovely stuff. So if you want to, you can carry on with those crunches, keep them going. If you feel like half an hour is long enough, then absolutely be my guest. Feel free to finish there.